the 1920s to the late 1940s, Central Avenue was the core of Black culture, entertainment, and business in Los Angeles. Housing restrictions and racial inequalities present in other neighborhoods led many Black families to settle near Central Avenue, forming a community that constructed buildings still standing today. Cool public art can also be found throughout. Murals that depict the history of early Black residents, jazz music, and a growing Latinx community of present day. Central Avenue was once lined with popular jazz venues like the Club Alabama. Many famous singers performed here, and often the crowds were integrated, which meant Black and white attendees enjoyed music together. Jack's Basket Room, also known as Bird in a Basket, was another famous jazz club. The club was well known for its late-night jazz sessions where people jammed out to more modern tunes all night long. Central Avenue embodies stories of Black leaders. Charlotta Bass was an activist for women's rights and the first Black woman to own and operate a major newspaper. The California Eagle was one of the most longest-running Black-owned newspapers in the United States that covered issues facing the Black community, often untold by other newspapers. Paul R. Williams was a civic leader, architect, and the first Black member of the American Institute of Architects. He designed more than 3,000 structures, including the Second Baptist Church in the Central Avenue Historic Corridor. Ralph J. Bunche, a scholar, human rights activist, and diplomat, was the first Black person to receive a Nobel Peace Prize in 1950 for his work with the United Nations. Ralph grew up in the historic corridor on East 40th Place and attended historic Thomas Jefferson High School nearby. Let's take a closer look at one historic building and hear its story from a special person.
Welcome! The African American Firefighter Museum is dedicated to collecting, conserving, and sharing the heritage of African American firefighters. We're located in the beautifully restored Fire Station 30 on historic Central Avenue in southeast downtown Los Angeles. Fire Station 30 was one of the two previously segregated fire stations in Los Angeles between the mid-1920s and the mid-1950s. Your choices and actions matter. You can make a difference. I invite you to visit the museum to hear stories of how the choices and actions of the firefighters Arnett Hartsfield and the old Centurions resulted in the integration of the Los Angeles Fire Department and continues to change the face and story of Los Angeles. See you soon.
Learn more about the African American Firefighter Museum by visiting their website. It's craft time! Let's make a 3D streetscape. A streetscape is similar to a map, but instead the focus is on a view of streets and the buildings and structures found on them. You'll need the following materials: one large poster-sized sheet of paper, any size will work, different colored sheets of paper, one for each building or structure you're featuring on your streetscape, markers, a glue stick, and a pair of scissors. Begin with your large sheet of paper and draw an outline of the streets you're going to include on your streetscape. I'm focusing on streets found in the Central Avenue Historic Corridor. You can choose to feature streets that are found in your neighborhood instead. After you've drawn an outline of the streets, write out the street names. And think about all of the buildings or structures that you're going to feature in your streetscape. Next, create each of those buildings by folding the paper in half and then half again, and then 2 more folds like so. After you've folded all of your papers to create your buildings, decorate them. Think about the details that are found on the buildings you're going to include. What do they look like? What colors are they? Do they have any designs? What materials are they made from? Continue to decorate all of the buildings you're going to include before you start gluing them together. Let's put all of our paper buildings together. Turn your paper over and glue at the edge at the bottom of each building that you've created out of paper, and then fold it like so. Add any last-minute details before you start gluing these to your streetscape. Here's my finished streetscape. And these are the 4 buildings that I've included. What will you explore in your neighborhood?